All right, here we go. Better late than never. Part 4 in my The Fall of Ruby Franke series. Today we are going to be talking about none other than Miss Jodi Hildebrandt. I will preface this by saying this is probably going to be one of my shorter videos. I literally only have about 1 page of notes on her because wow, everything with Jodi's out in the open. It's very clear. Jodi just was letting it all hang out. But there is some big stuff about her that the documentary carefully tiptoed around, as they seem to do with everything that had to do with the Mormon faith. So buckle up, let's get into it. So in a shock to no one, Jodi Hildebrandt here, huge narcissist, right? Huge freaking narcissist. Not a surprise. However, I believe, as with Ruby, she's a communal narcissist, just like all cult leaders are. All one has to do is look at her connections group, this relationship and therapy coaching that she was doing for families and for couples, to see that this was someone who needed a big stage, just like Ruby. She wanted to be on YouTube. She wanted to have millions of people telling her how good she was. She wanted everyone using her abusive advice to live their day-to-day lives and lead their relationships and their families. She wanted that. That's also why I think she was attracted to Ruby, the narcissism, because Ruby came with a nice, big, old splat of visibility, and Jodi was like, "Ooh, wow, I can go after a woman, which I secretly want, and get a bunch of attention for it? Wow, dream." There's also a major undercurrent of envy that kind of runs beneath with her, which makes me think this is also narcissism. I think that Jodi was very, very jealous of anybody that was happy, anybody that had kids that spoke to them, any women that were in happy relationships. And I think that she liked to destroy that because I think Jodi herself was very unhappy. Remember, her kids didn't speak to her. Like, she didn't have any close family that wanted anything to do with her. I think she was envious of anyone that did have that. She had the delusions of grandeur as well, right? I mean, you have to have delusions of grandeur to think that God is speaking to you special, and he's picked you special to save the entire world of 8 billion people. You alone. Both of these women also believe in all this visions of glory Mormon nonsense, which you have to be a narcissist to believe. It's literally, you have to have some form of narcissism to believe in these Mormon prophecies, because these Mormon prophecies are all about, you're special, you're chosen, you're better than everybody. Immediate narcissism. Apparently, she's not actually a psychologist. She lost her, when you watch the documentary and her former business partners in there, that one that was working at the practice, apparently she wasn't really a therapist or psychologist. She had lost her licensure or something like that, but she was basically still going around telling everybody, I'm a psychologist. It's a real pattern in the Mormon church. Go and look it up. Specifically, go look up Tom Harrison, Thom Harrison. There's also massive entitlement with Jodi. You see it when she gets arrested, where she's basically like, no, I'm not going to come out of my house. You can't come in here. No, I'm not going to do that. But she also feels entitled to the lives of the people that she controls. She feels entitled to tell them what to do. She feels entitled to torture them. She feels entitled to have control of the people around her. That's narcissism. And obviously, right, the most obvious one, no empathy. Because you cannot have empathy if you torture children. Now, moving on, another big thing I noticed about Jodi, massive manipulator. I don't think Jodi knows how to exist without manipulation. You see it in the connections group and how she draws people in, like she did with Bobo Franke. She told him, you're such a good man. You're so wonderful. You're so special. You're such a good man. And then once he was comfortable, she pushed him out and took his family. And she does it in the arrest as well. When the police come to get her and they're like, hey, child abuser, time to go to prison. She's like, listen, guys, I'm with you. I'm one of you, you're such good guys. You're so nice. You're such good guys. I'm on your side. Moving on, severe mental health issues. This woman was going around all the time saying she was seeing dark spirits and dark shadows that were appearing to her, and she was becoming frantic. I don't know if you guys caught this, but they're talking about Jodi being possessed in the documentary and how the bishop has to come out. Kevin, Bobo, the moron, admits that the bishop comes over to him and is like, we can't keep doing this. I can't keep coming out here for this. Something else has to happen. And of course, Bobo, being a moron, was like, oh no, he's talking about the devil. No, that bishop was talking about how nuts this woman is and that she needed to be in a padded cell because something is seriously wrong with her. And the last thing she needs to do is be getting on YouTube coaching people. She needs to be medicated and in inpatient care. Now, here's a tricky one. And I'm saying this with respect. I'm not degrading anybody, nothing. I think that there was something going on with Jodi's sexuality. I think that Jodi was suppressing her sexuality because of the church that she was in. And I think her internalizing that and suppressing that was coming out in a lot of this crazy behavior. Like the way she kind of separated Ruby from her husband so she could have Ruby for herself and they could have candle and massage time up in Ruby's child's bedroom. You remember that? And the way she goes out of her way to target men, and I'm not saying that they don't deserve it, but you could tell that Jodi really, 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 really like put it down harder on men and little boys. Like the torture that little boy went through that escaped. I think because of this twisted church that they're in that makes people suppress their true sexualities, I think that probably has compounded some of the issues. And Jodi, maybe subconsciously, came up with some pretty insane scenarios and dilemmas so that she could have what she actually craved within a way that the Mormon church validated. I don't know if you guys understand that, but that's what I think. And last but not least, Jodi Hildebrandt's ties to this man, Tom Harrison, who a lot of Mormons know as Spencer from Visions of Glory. What's Visions of Glory? It's this insane nut job Mormon prophecy book that I've been telling you guys about that basically tells Mormons, you guys are all the chosen ones. And what we're going to do is we're going to bring about the end times so all non-Mormons can be wiped out and we can take the planet from them. They actively want you to die if you're not a Mormon. This is where the whole light and dark people, possessions, all that stuff, this is where it comes from, okay? It comes from Visions of Glory. It comes from Tom Harrison. And Tom Harrison comes from a very, very, very powerful and wealthy Salt Lake City, Utah Mormon family. And guess what else? Tom Harrison is also a psychologist, like Jodi, teaching people that their children can be possessed and must have the demons removed from them. It is the same belief system that led to Lori Vallow executing 2 children. It is the exact same belief system. And Ruby and Jodi and all the rest of them in that documentary still are echoing sentiments from this wacky, and yes it is, very popular Mormon sub-belief system. And that's the real danger, because these nut jobs are backed by elements within the Mormon church, like the Council of 12, who quietly just sanctions this stuff, but then publicly goes, oh, no. Here's the money, though. And they use these things to literally get into positions of power around the country. The Mormon church, for years, has been teaching people that they are going to take over the United States of America and turn it into a Mormon theocracy. And if that were to happen, how many more kids do you think would be tortured and killed? Because I don't know if you guys understand how insane it is that we just had these 2 cases literally happening back to back pretty much at the same time. Mormon mothers, Mormon church. So yeah, Jodi and the people like her, absolutely dangerous. Absolutely should be locked up for the rest of their natural born lives. Throw away the key. What a cult leader, huh? Anyway, if you guys want to know more, you can come back for the next part, which will be up tomorrow, in which we are going to start talking specifically about the Mormon church and why this happened because of the Mormon church and how the Mormon church is still helping to quiet this, cover it up, like when they had their Mormon judges refuse to sign warrants to go and get the Franke children. So, see you then.